stranger too.
That would work. The only question I have is we have pretty tightly circumscribed causal things here, and this is a very open. Well, on the other hand, this conduction is quite open. So Rebecca responding to a lot of flailing is.
We could also set some rules on sound.
I think that increasingly there's a large number of composers who are interested in this kind of thing. So I think there seems to be something in the zeitgeist that somehow compels composers to try these sorts of formulations. It's not entirely a new thing, of course. It goes back, in some ways we could say decades, in other ways we could say it goes back millennia. But there does seem to be a moment for this type of composed theater, new disciplinary types of works. But really, I'm not ultimately concerned with what the trends are in art and if this is some sort of distinguished, critically acknowledged and named artistic enterprise.
Well, quite obviously the theatrical elements are, certainly outside of what you get trained at conservatory, and also, so those were, I think the newest challenge was just not only there was the element, of course, of doing the different actions at the tables and sort of manipulating different objects and finding the right atmosphere and the right sense of presentation for that, because he was very clear that it shouldn't be overblown or overshown. It was meant to be sort of mundane and yet at the same time very clear and in that sense performative, but in a subtle way. And then there was also, of course, the visual and manual choreography of the two outer movements, which were almost entirely without music for most of us. And we had a very specific lexicon of hand gestures that he explained both in the instructions, and he worked with us in person. And that was, I'd say that was the biggest challenge of all, because we had to be exactly unified as an ensemble. And it's one thing, we've spent our lives playing our instruments and knowing how to play together when we can hear each other. But learning how to do these synchronized hand motions was definitely, I think, new territory for everyone. Like a little bit like synchronized swimming, I imagine, but no water.
She's gonna be like, you're gonna like walk around and you just walk into a room and go from room to room, like, no, do this, you do this. And then you'll be like, I'm going on the airplane.
Learned that is new. I guess for me, new was at least the kind of workflow. I've done similar kind of things before, like devising workshops or something like that, but the way that Mark is kind of facilitating the group is very free. Like, he gives very few guidelines, just like splits us in the groups, and then it's just like, okay, provide us a demo, 45 minutes, go. And then we're kind of not doing any tasks, just like building something random out of scratch. That has at least been completely new way of working for me.
I would say pretty much the same things, and because the group is mostly completely new for us, except we know each other and we have been working maybe some similar kind of things before together, but like learning how to collaborate in a really fast, instant way with complete strangers, and suddenly we are like a small bubble family after a couple of days.
For me, as starting with an artist, I just make weird stuff that I'm interested in, things that I just want to see. And sometimes the things that I want to see are not things that I only want to hear, but I want to hear and see. So I think about the visual elements and I just make art. And then it turns out that there are other people who share this affinity. So I think there is it's a kind of it's a tribe. That might be it's kind of a sour word these days, but there's a number of collected minds who come together and are really interested in this sort of art making.